Jesus said to him, "Someone gave a great dinner and invited many. At the time of the dinner, he sent his slave to say to those who had been invited, 'Come, for everything is ready now.' But they all alike began to make excuses. The first said to him, 'I bought a piece of land and I must go out and see it. Please accept my regrets.' Another said, 'I bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm going to go try them out. Please accept my regrets.' Another said, 'I've just been married and therefore I cannot come.' So the slave returned and reported this to his master. Then the owner of the house became angry and said to his slave, 'Go out at once into the streets and lanes of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame.' And the slave said, 'Sir, what you ordered has been done, and there is still room.' Then the master said to the slave, 'Go out into the roads and lanes and compel people to come in, so that my house may be filled. For I tell you, none of those who were invited will taste my dinner.'" This reading is known as the parable of the great banquet. It serves as the model for the work we are doing at Living Water Ministries. For many years, I have stood before this assembly and given a report that intentionally made known the struggles we've been facing at Living Water Ministries. Last year, this culminated as I shared with you about the closure and sale of ELCA. If you haven't perceived it yet in your congregation, you should know that the tectonic plates of how we do church in this day have shifted. Things have changed. Many of our congregations struggle to fight the receding tide of membership and worship attendance. Many of our campus ministries struggle to capture a viable population of young adults. Many of our seminaries struggle to find enough students to form into leaders for the church. And many of our camps have struggled to maintain sustainable camper attendance. We've all prepared great dinners. We've sent out the invitations, but people just aren't showing up. What do we do in the face of this reality? The easy response would be to wring our hands, complain about these realities with each other, continue to do exactly what we've been doing, only now with less resources, and hope that somehow the results of these efforts will suddenly find success. Or we can listen to Jesus. In this parable of the great banquet from Luke's Gospel, Christ has something to say about what we should do when we find ourselves in such a predicament. When we've made all the preparations and we still find the pews and the campus ministry centers and the seminary dorm rooms and the camp cabins to be empty. The master in this parable commands, "Go out. Go out at once. Go out into the streets and lanes of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame. Go out." Now, you might be asking, what's with the yelling? I'm yelling because the scripture says the master was angry. He was angry with all the excuses that were made by those he invited who didn't come. And I'm guessing he's angry because he's put on this great dinner, invited a bunch of guests that aren't showing up, and now the food is getting cold. He's angry and things are urgent. There isn't time to be wasted, and the command is simple: go out. I want to be clear here about something, though. You see, the master invited people to this dinner, and it stands to reason that he even invited people he knew, or at least people he thought would come. But clearly, the invitation alone wasn't enough. The parable illustrates for us that extending an invitation does not serve as a substitute for going out. Extending an invitation doesn't require us to leave our comfort zone. Extending an invitation doesn't force us to leave our space and enter somebody else's space, to be in their midst, to see what they see, to smell what they smell, to hear what they hear, to try to truly know who they are. For us, this means we can't just send nice brochures and carefully crafted emails. And this means we can't just post Facebook invitations or website announcements. We have to go out into the streets and lanes and roads. We have to go out and find those who the world says have the least value, because God tells us and Jesus shows us time and time again that they have the most value. We have to go out, find them, be in their space, experience Christ on their terms, and then we can bring them in to experience Christ together in a new community. As I mentioned at the beginning, this parable of the great banquet serves as a model for the work we do at Living Water Ministries. And while I've stood up here for many years now and shared with you the struggles Living Water Ministries has been facing, today I'm here to share with you the news about how God has reforged this ministry to be a more powerful witness to the gospel than ever before. Our mission calls us to serve all of God's children. In the fall of 2015, we launched a fundraising campaign to raise $60,000 to fund full tuition scholarships for up to 150 campers otherwise unable to attend. It's my pleasure to tell you today that we have reached our goal. This campaign has given us, thank you. This campaign has given us the ability to tear down the financial barriers to camp attendance, develop new partnerships, and truly bring together communities that include all of God's children. This summer, we are looking to host new campers from Detroit, Inkster, Pontiac, Shelby, Chicago, and beyond as a direct result of this fundraising campaign. For a few years now, Living Water Ministries has also been offering a program called Bridge Builders for high school age students. Yeah. The goal of our Bridge Builders program is to develop young leaders for the church and the world with a raised awareness and understanding of the realities of racism. Yes. In the fall of 2015, Bridge Builders received a grant from the ELCA to broaden the reach of this innovative program. $20,925 was awarded to fund advertising costs, full tuition scholarships, and travel assistance to people specifically outside of Michigan. Yeah. As a result, this grant will host youth from Oregon, Texas, Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and of course, Michigan, to develop leaders for the church and the world in this day. Rescue, Release, Restore is a nonprofit based out of Shekinah Chapel, an ELCA congregation in Riverdale, Illinois. And for many years, Rescue, Release, Restore has provided camp experiences for African American youth aged 8 to 17. And has now partnered with Living Water Ministries to create MILA. MILA stands for Multicultural Youth Leadership Academy and will bring together youth ages 13 to 16 from a variety of cultural backgrounds and develop their gifts for leadership in an intentional, multicultural setting. And this program will happen at Stony Lake this August, this summer. Also, through a strong partnership with Samaritas, we will continue to offer a week of camp for children in foster care and a week of camp for families suffering from homelessness or in other forms of transition. Also, through a partnership with our friends at Angel's Place, we will continue to offer our Abundant Life Week of Camp. This camp week is for adults with developmental disabilities, truly one of our most joy-filled weeks of camp all summer long. Because we've been intentional to go out and create meaningful relationships with new camper populations and ministry partners, we feel blessed to share with you that about the growth we are experiencing. In 2016, we are projecting an 8% increase in camper attendance over the prior year. In a world where decline had become our norm, we are excited to move that needle back in a positive direction this summer. Also in 2016, we are projecting that 40% of our campers will attend camp through partnerships, not through traditional congregational sources. In 2015, that number was 15%. This last year, Pew released some data on diversity within a number of denominations, and the ELCA scored pretty poorly on that list, as 96% of our membership in the United States is white. As the ELCA has long sought to be a place of greater diversity, I am very proud to share with you that we expect 30% of our campers this summer will not be white. Not only that, but because campers turn into future counselors, we continue to make a more balanced shift in the makeup of our summer staff, and this summer 24% of our summer staff will also not be white. Switching gears a little bit from the summer, we've also had some successes to report with the Michigan Gathering, our winter event. That's for high school kids and young adults age 18 to 25. In 2015, we saw a 7% increase in the registrations, again, over the year prior. And most notably, we saw a significant increase in young adult participation, with 83 young adults ages 18 to 25 participating in 2015. We are a vibrant young adult ministry with that event. Also, with the Michigan Gathering, we hosted congregations not only from Michigan, but also Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois, and we continue to expand that reach beyond conventional borders. And the Michigan Gathering continues to grow in its ecumenical reach. ELCA participants are joined by participants from the Episcopal Diocese of Michigan, the Episcopal Diocese of Eastern Michigan, the United Church of Christ, and of course, primarily the ELCA. We've all prepared great dinners, and we've sent out invitations, and people just haven't been showing up. So it is simply time to go out. As I hope you can see at Living Water Ministries, we have found this approach to be extremely life-giving. The more we reach all of God's children, the more we develop strong partnerships, the more that we bring people together in community, the richer we have become. Thank you for your support, your participation, and your prayers.